Here's how to import CAD into your Revit family and use it as a reference to make a profile for our door. First, we need to create the profile. So we go to New Family, File, New Family, and we go down to Metric Profile and click Open. Now with a profile, it's important to know that these two lines here are our intersection points. So similar to CAD, this would be your 0, 0 point. So however far away you create your profile in relation to these two intersection lines here, that will determine how far away that comes in when you import into something. So to import our CAD profile, we go to Insert, Import CAD. You need to go to where your CAD file is. There's a few settings we want to adjust here. We want to click Current View Only. It doesn't matter about the colors, as I know that this DWG is done in just one particular line type. We'll just bring in all the layers. For the import units, we want to select millimeter, as I know that that is the scale that's used within that AutoCAD file. And the positioning doesn't matter at this moment because we'll just be manually placing it anyway. And click Open. So you can see it's come through here. So I could select this button here, select Pinned Elements, and you can see that the DWG is automatically being pinned by default. So to move it around, you click Unpin, and then you can move it like that. So we want to get this corner here as close as we can to this insertion point, so we can use the Move tool, select this corner, and then you can either move it side to side like that, or you can hold down Shift, and that means you can move it in multiple directions, and you can select the insertion point there. So we've got that corner nicely on the insertion point. Now we need to create actual Revit lines rather than have them as DWGs like this. So click Line, and it picks up the AutoCAD line, so we can just do the Pick Line tool, and we can do Tab Select, and you can see it's picked up some of the lines, but not all of them. And it's not picking up that. But what we can do is just create our own version of that using a spline. And then you can adjust it with the grab handles. In order to make sure that it is a closed profile, we can select it, and you can see here that we've got these blue open dots here. So this tells me that this profile is closed. So if I had it like that, you can see here you've got two blue dots that are closed, or solid blue dots. That means that the profile is not closed and it won't work. So I can drag that back over, and also using Tab Select, all of them are selected. So that shows you that it is closed. So we need to go into our Family Types dialog here, and we're going to create a new type. And I'm just going to call it Architrave Profile. Click Apply and OK. And then we need to save that in a convenient location. Again, save the family name. Okay, so because our CAD file had two profiles in it, I'm actually just going to go back a few steps till it comes back up. I'm going to delete that line type that we created, and I'm going to move this over to, again, that insertion point. To get it snapping at the intersection, we can pull it away, and then do Move and type SI for Snap Intersection, and it's picking up the intersection there. Now we do exactly the same in terms of the lines, and you can see it's picked all of the lines around there. Again, we can delete the CAD, and you can see what is left is a closed profile. Right, we want to go into our family types dialog and we want to create a new type, and I'm just going to call it beading profile. Click OK, apply, and OK. Now again, we want to save as. We want to make sure that we save as because we are using our arbitrary profile. Click Save As, Family. I'm just going to save it in the exact location, but this time I'm going to call it Beading Profile and click Save. Okay, back into our family. In order to create our profile around, we want to create it on two sides. We want to create our architrave on the inside or the interior and the exterior side as well. So you can see in plan view, there's going to be a profile here and here. So let's do the exterior side first. So to do that, we will click on exterior and we want to go to create, sweep, and we'll go to sketch path and pick lines, and we're picking up these lines here. We've got to make sure that we click lock, and we're picking these extents here. Now we use the trim tool and trim these corners so that we want to create a nice N shape. And to align these points here to this bottom, we want to select the align tool, select this reference plane here, and then hover over till we get the end of the line there, like that. And then the same with this one. Pick the reference plane, pick the endpoint, and there you can see that we've got our shape. You can double check that it's all locked off by clicking it, and you can see the lock points here. Okay, so with a sweep, we need to create our path and our profile as well. So we've created our path, which is this shape here. We need to click finish edit mode and then go over to the profile. So we haven't loaded our profiles in, but what we can do is go over to load profile, and then we want to find the location of our profiles, and we can actually control select both of them at the same time and click open. So you can see here that we've got both those profiles that were created. And as I mentioned earlier, we want to create the architrave on the outside. So we'll click architrave for our profile. Now at the moment, you can't really see what's going on. So we need to go into ref level to see what's happening. And we need to do some adjustment here to get this around the correct orientation. You can change the horizontal offset. You can change the vertical offset, and this changes its position in relation to this line here, or the sweep line that you created. So we want to put these back to 0, and we actually want to rotate this. Okay, so it's still not looking quite right, so we can click profiles flipped. Still not quite right. There we go, we got there eventually. Actually, it needs to be the other way around. There we go, we got there eventually. Took me a while. Okay, so you can see here that it's gone on both sides. That means that it's all the way around. Okay, so it's really important to note that because we did our sweep line on the exterior, this exterior view here, when we selected that path, it was actually selecting the path lines on that exterior reference plane here, which is on this wall face. So with wall-based components, one thing you always need to be mindful of is that the thickness of the wall is going to vary. And you can adjust that in here. So if I move it to 300 mil, you can see that this profile goes with the thickness of the wall, which is what we want because we want it to be on the outside of the wall. Now that, as I said, that occurs because we put our profile on this reference plane here, this exterior reference plane. So if we just modeled it in an elevation view without doing it on that reference plane, when we update this wall thickness, that profile would not go with it. So the Revit family environment is really good in terms of being able to test that. So it comes inbuilt with 3 different wall types, which means you can vary the thicknesses to make sure that it's actually behaving in a way that you want when you put it into a project. Okay, so we're going to do exactly the same thing, but on the interior side now. So let's go to interior elevations. And as I said, exactly the same as before, sweep. We're going to sketch path, pick lines, and we want to pick up those same 3 lines. Trim command for the corners. Want to use the align, that reference line to these points here. Make sure it's all locked off nicely. And then again, we want to do our architrave profile. So again, we just need to adjust this to make sure that this is mirroring this one here. Now, in actual fact, there might be a horizontal offset here. So this architrave might actually finish about here, about 15, 20 mil in. That's to account for a wood lining that's going to come in here for the door. So let's actually adjust that and just make sure that we account for that. So for the horizontal profile offset for this one, we can change that to 110. Nope, wrong way. We can change it to 90. So you see there, we've got that offset. Now we want to do exactly the same for this one. Change it to 90. That works.